All right, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us today on our monthly webinar. This month, we're going to talk about new employee onboarding and terminated employee offboarding within isolved. So we'll hop right in here. So again, what we're going to talk about today is talking about doing a quick demo of onboarding, how it works, a little bit of training there. We'll look at both the employee and the administrative views. We'll go through all of the pieces that an employee can do through onboarding. And then we'll show what offboarding looks like. Offboarding allows for you to terminate an employee, make sure things are done appropriately and cleaned up when employees leave. And then lastly, we'll look at some resources as well. Actually, we'll look at those before we hop into the demo. So don't forget papertrails.com. We have a ton of resources out there for you. If you have specific login help questions, papertrails.com/help. Your employees can go there for step-by-step instructions. If they're having issues logging into the app or into myhrstuff.com. We have just launched our new HR consulting product this week. Dawn Pahel is our new HR consultant on the team. She's fabulous. And we'll be starting a little bit more, we're sending a little bit more information about some more specific HR type webinars and services going forward. So keep an eye out for those. But certainly we'd love to help you with any HR needs that you might have as well. Don't forget our podcast, Small Business Big World, is published each and every Tuesday. We have some great guests on there that help us navigate the great and fun world of small business. Everything from employee benefits to diversity initiatives and even some marketing and so forth as well. We talked about really fun stuff. So next month's webinar, similar to this one, we're going to do another isolved type webinar. We're going to go through the expense management module and show how that works. But let's get hopping into isolved, and we will look right at onboarding. So employee onboarding essentially allows for you to get in there and let me make sure I'm sharing my screen here. Allows for you, when you have a new employee, for you to go ahead and get them onboarded in a paperless fashion. So everything that you need to collect for an employee from onboarding paperwork perspective, you can do electronically, and that will be stored electronically for you to manage going forward as well. So the kind of way that starts is coming right in here to isolved. We're going to go to the employee admin tools on the left, employee administration, and then we're going to go to the pending employees screen. This allows us to go ahead and kick off onboarding. I'm going to hit initiate onboarding here, and we're going to fill out some very basic information. As you can see, you really only need the first name, last name, and email address, the things that are asterisks, to start the onboarding process. So when you're very early on in an onboarding with an employee, you can just put their name and their email address in, and then we'll force them to go through and fill everything out on their own. We do have to choose what company you're working on here, where they're going to be working. Remember, if you have multiple locations, because you have workers in multiple different states or locations, that's important to choose because the taxability is going to be on there. Be sure you check out our remote employee compliance webinar that's posted on YouTube from a couple months ago. We can choose a template. So we, from an admin perspective, can create as many different templates as you'd like. So in this situation, I just have one, but you may have a manufacturing, an office, you can have as many different templates as you want, and you can have different documents and requirements for each type of department or so forth. So each template you create. Just going to choose that. We can run through the WOTC certification for work opportunity tax credits if we want. I'm going to uncheck that box for now. But we can also, there are some states that require you to notice your employees about certain things, and we can include those employee notices in the onboarding if we need to. So I'm going to leave that blank as well. And then basically, like I said, we just go in, fill their name in. You don't have to fill in their birthday. You don't have to fill in their social. You can fill in as much of this information as you want. It will run us through it again. You'll see that in just a second. But for now, I'm just going to leave those blank. And again, we can put in, pay group. We can put in their hourly rate if we know those right now. Again, or leave them blank because they're not required. If you want, you can fill out the organization information. I'll just do that now. They have a manager and so forth. And once you hit save, the employee is going to get an email, and they're going to go ahead and start walking through the onboarding process. So I've already filed that, so I am going to stop sharing this screen, and I'm going to share my employee screen. So the employee is going to go ahead and get an email. It's going to say, welcome to the company. here's what we need to do. You need to go ahead and click this link to get started. So when they come in here, it will create their login information for the first time. I've already done that in this demonstration, but it'll create their login for the first time. They can go get logged in through security. As a reminder, the new multi-factor authentication does apply in all situations. So they're going to have multi-factor authentication, a text, a Face ID, a PIN, any one of those, for security. Obviously, we're dealing with very secure information here. So we want to make sure that that is taken care of. So first things first, you're going to hit this welcome page. Welcome to the company. You can put anything in this message that you like. If there's specific instructions or things you want them to do, you can do that. We're going to come in here. It's going to bring us to our employee page, and we're going to go right in and start looking at personal information. So it's going to bring me in here. You can upload a picture. Doe, right? John Doe. We can upload a picture, take a picture if they want. This is all mobile friendly as well. They can do that. Some of the forms get a little bit small, but for the most part, you can get through them if you want on a mobile device. About you, we can come in here, make them fill in whatever they need to fill in here. I've pre-filled a lot of this information in, so as to save some time. But again, name, address, so forth. If there's an alternate address, if they have a mailing address that they want to put in there versus a physical address, they can choose that as well. Then we come on down to the contact details, where they can come in, fill in their date of birth if we want. Well, we don't want, we need to do that. That is a requirement. We can put their social in there. I've already filled that in. Any phone numbers they may want to put in, a personal email, their marital status and so forth. All that can be filled in here as well. We're going to go ahead next. Now it's going to ask us for things about our paycheck. So we can add our direct deposit. Okay, so we can come in here, put in our account number. This is my savings account. And I'm going to put flat dollar amount, $10 in there every pay. As a reminder, you can always change the frequency. You can have first, second, third, fourth, whatever, first and second, first of the month, first, whatever you want to do. The most common is certainly every pay, but that's fine too. So hit save. So now we have $10 going to this savings account, and everything else is going to go to that. So all this is filled out. They're filling that information out in their onboarding. And we'll hit next. Now it's going to run us through our tax wizard. So it's going to make us fill out the federal W-4 and the state W-4. So I'm going to open this up, tax wizard, and it's going to run us through the questions that the form fills out. So in essence, it's going to help us. Most employees aren't quite sure how to fill out these forms. So this is really a wizard that's going to help. So we're going to say, hey, listen, we just want to use the English form here. We're going to hit next. Yeah, we want to use the federal. Are you a non-resident alien? No, we are not. So that's good. We're going to move forward there. Are you exempt? No, I am not exempt, right? I want to have taxes withheld. I am single, right? We're going down through the W-4 form. And certainly you can use an estimator. You can do the multiple jobs worksheet, anything like that you want to do. I'm going to hit none of the above. Again, most employees don't need any of those special things. We're not going to claim any dependents anymore. The new W-4 is designed to really just have that first section, single, married, or head of household filled in. Certainly they could come in here and say, okay, this one I do. I want to have extra withholding. I want to have $5 extra withheld each week, right? Just in case I want to over withhold. Next. And now what it's going to do is it's going to give me my pre-populated W-4 form with my $5 extra and so forth. And I can come in, put my last four of my social in, and it's automatically going to electronically sign and submit my federal W-4. Okay. We can hit continue. Same thing. We're going to go through this one, and I chose a California employee for a weird reason, but we're going to go through and fill out the California form. Again, single here. I am not exempt from California withholding. I don't want to complete the worksheet. I don't need to have anything special done. No, I don't need to do this worksheet. No, I don't need to do this worksheet. I'm going to just do 0, 0. And again, I want to have an extra $5 taken out here. And again, it's going to give me my state W-4. Okay. And I'm going to sign this with my pen. And now we've finished filling out our W-4 forms. And I can close this tab. And we're going to confirm our completion. And we're going to, yep, forms are completed. And we're going to hit next. Now it's going to bring us to the I-9 form. So you're going to go ahead and fill that out just the same, right? So fill all this information out. And this will error out if we don't, and if the employee miskeys any of this data, it will error out and tell you that they're not allowed to continue this one because it doesn't match the information that's already been entered. We did not use a preparer. We are a citizen. Set that in. And I acknowledge that that's there. From here, they can upload the documents that they're required to upload, their passport, their license, things like that. We often find that the employees don't have those. So you're going to collect those offline. They can upload those if they'd like, but they're not required to do that. And again, there's going to be a step that you'll see in just a second where we will verify and upload that employee document stuff on the admin side of things. So go ahead and hit complete. Yes, I am done. Wonderful. Now we can upload any other supporting documents that we want, but we also have to complete our supporting documents. We have to look at our employee handbook. We've got to go ahead and download that, read through it, see what's in it. You can have everything, and then this requires them to sign this to go forward. So they have to sign in here, okay? Now they've signed that, acknowledge that. We can put any number of documents in here that you'd like. Doesn't have to be the handbook alone. It can be any other documents that you have your employees. In my demo, it says I have to upload some supporting documents. We missed that step here. That. And we'll hit next. We've uploaded that. Now we're done. You can see we have check marks all along the left-hand side. We're going to go ahead and hit next. And we can hit submit. So when this employee submits their onboarding, the admin at your office, whoever that is going to get an email saying, yep, John has completed his onboarding. And that's going to trigger you to go back in to the admin side to manage that. So we now have come back to our pending employee screen. We got our email, and it now says John has completed and it's assigned to me. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, and we're going to go in to the client new hire wizard. What this is going to do is it's going to come in and allow us to review everything that they entered. So similarly, they're going to be, all the things that they've entered, but they're also maybe some extra items that we want to add in, right? So in this situation, it's requiring a gender. We're going to verify the employment information, the departments, the employee ID if that is necessary. Self-service. The nice thing about this is once they've gone through this onboarding, they're already set up for self-service for the app. Everything else, they can log right in at any time, start punching if you're using timekeeping. They can then go and do their benefits administration. That will be another webinar later this year. I think September is on the calendar for benefits administration. You can also see all their pay stubs, update their information. All that kind of stuff can be configured in here as well. So again, we're just kind of working through, we missed the employment category. So this employee is full-time, right? Next. If they are being assigned to a specific job, or there are specific organization fields that need to be classified, or their workers' comp needs to be set up, right? We need to set that up in here. These are all fields that you can add if you are using them in here. Pay group, again, we're going to go ahead and be in here and put the rates of pay in here, okay? Here's where we're going to review that I-9. So this is where you have to get the employee's passport, for example, right? And we can go ahead, put the passport number in, the expiration date, okay? And then from here, we can go ahead and sign it, right? And this says, yep, I have acknowledged this in here. And we know that to be true. So it's good. Next. So this is the information that they entered. You notice it's all blacked out because when the employee enters that, we don't want to have to make changes, right? The employee has chosen what they want on their W-4, and we're not going to change that because they have signed a W-4 that says this is what we want. Okay. So it's really a review for you. Direct deposit, again, you're not going to have anything to verify this with, but this is what they've entered in for their direct deposit. As long as it looks okay, you can go ahead and leave that. Are there any pay items or deductions that you want to set up right away, right? Maybe this employee came in and requested an advance before they started coming in. You can come in here and say, hey, I got to take out $150 on that first check, right? Or if there's specific earnings, if you're having a stipend or something like that, you can add those right within this wizard. Of course, we want to make sure that your main paid leave or your other accruals, your paid time off, are set up appropriately. So if you want to come in here, just add the plans in. Typically speaking, there's no balances to update, but you'd be able to come in and enter those in and make sure that they're starting to accrue appropriately from day one. If you're assigning them assets, so hey, let's go ahead and, we gave them a key to the front door, right? No serial number or anything like that, but we gave that to them in here. So put whatever we want in there for notes. So when we terminate them, and we'll see what that looks like in just a moment. Okay, and we can see that they acknowledged the handbook, which is great. And then we're going to keep clicking through. And we're going to go ahead and complete our new hire. So from here, we're done. It's certainly going to bring you in here. You can come set up any number of these things. I'm going to go to employee documents. You can see the employee documents. There's the I-9. Here, you can upload a copy of that passport, right? Certainly, we have copies of the W-4s that were uploaded as part of that. And again, you can upload anything to these employee documents you'd like at any time. You have access at all times to upload employee documents. So if there's things that you want to keep track of, you can keep an entirely electronic employee file right here within the system. So, and you don't have to be using onboarding to do it. So I do want to quickly touch on reboarding. So if an employee is left and come back, you certainly can come through and reboard them. Okay, so I could come in here, take Hazel, and I want to rehire Hazel. Okay, and what we can do is we can rehire using reboarding. So essentially, it's going to rerun them through that onboarding wizard all over again. We can create a different template if we want for reboarding. So maybe we don't want them to refill out the W-4. We want to use their same old settings. You could exclude that. Or maybe you have different forms that you need a returning employee to fill out rather than a new employee kind of thing. So you certainly can do that, run them through. This will get them to update their information, look at their direct deposit, look at their W-4. It will run them through that whole process all over again to do that. So that's reboarding. Okay. But let's take a look at terminating employees and using offboarding within the system. So we can come in here and terminate employees through the system as well. And this is a similar kind of checklist approach to terminating employees. So I'm going to go ahead and initiate the offboarding. Again, we have to create a template. You can create any number of templates. The really nice thing about offboarding is you can assign different stages of offboarding to different people. So if you wanted to assign your IT folks a stage in the process to manage their assets, right? Make sure you get their laptop back or whatever, you could assign that part of the wizard to somebody else so that you're making sure that that gets taken care of. Or, hey, they have door access. We need to make sure the facilities department is notified and they fill out their step of the workflow and they can get notified of that. So this is a pretty basic one and we're going to do it all as one individual. But again, keep in mind that these can all be assigned to different people. The other example is you want your benefits person to see the benefits piece of it so that those get canceled appropriately. But I'm going to go ahead and take Ethan here. We're going to say he is terminating employment next Monday and he has resigned, right? We're going to check the box that says he's eligible for rehire. We can upload a document here. So if he gave us a resignation letter, we can upload that and that will get saved to his file, right? We're doing a whole employee file on here. I'm going to hit save. So now that process has been kicked off. If there were people in the workflow that needed to be notified, they would be notified right now. I'm going to just go in through my admin piece here and start the wizard on my own. So again, we're going to come in here, make sure the termination date is correct, and I'm going to go to the next step. Gosh, look, we have some assets that Ethan has been issued. He has a cell phone, he has a laptop, he has keys. We need to get those back from him, right? So this is my cue to go over and say, hey, I need your phone, I need your computer, I need your keys, right? Let's make sure we don't forget those. Have they been returned? Did we get them back? Yeah, we grabbed them today. He's not going to use them anymore, okay? Then we're going to look at those benefit plans. So if you're using benefits enrollment within our system and using a carrier feed, if you terminate benefits within this process, it will automatically notify your benefits carrier of this termination. You don't have to do anything else. If you are not using a carrier feed or integration, you will still need to manually notify your benefits provider of these terminations. But this will give you an idea of what they are enrolled in for benefits. Again, if you are using benefits within the system. So, hey, I need to terminate their medical, dental, vision, all that stuff, their AD&D, 401k, maybe I want to send them termination paperwork and so forth, and we're going to fix that group term life as well. So moving on, we have our accruals. So if there was pending absences in here that would show, and you could delete those absences, but certainly we want to handle the accrual, right? So what do we want to do with this accrual? Do we want to pay it out per the plan, right? Do we want to reset the balance? Do we want to just inactivate the plan? I will remind you, main paid leave, if employees, you probably don't want to, unless you're paying it out, you do not want to zero that plan out, because if an employee returns within 12 months, they must be given the balance of their original plan in there. So just keep that in mind. This is a main paid leave example particularly, but certainly you can do whatever you like in terms of that. I'm just going to inactivate this plan for now because this is main paid leave. If there were any roles, if there was if they were assigned as a manager, it would show that in here. So you could reassign those employees to this manager. This one does not have that. But certainly you could inactivate all their direct deposit accounts, which we generally recommend that you do, because if an employee comes back, you probably want to make sure that their direct deposit information is correct when they return, right? You don't want them to, their first check to go into an old account that's been closed and delay that. We gave this guy money. He owes us $325. What are we going to do with that, right? That's going to stop me. We've been taking 25 bucks a week, and now he's leaving, and I need to get my balance, right? So on that last payroll, we need to make a note to collect that balance or have him write us a check or something. So again, we're seeing these types of things in here as we're going through this termination. There's a child support. Do we need to notify the state of that? Is there something going on with that? Are there any performance reviews in the process? In this situation, there are not. Do we have any other benefits things we need to clean up? And then basically we're through the process and we're just going to run our audit. So look, it's telling me that we didn't do something with this advance and this child support. We need to go fix that, right? So I need to go and deal with those types of things. So I can do that after the fact. So now this employee has been terminated. We've gone through the entire process. They've terminated appropriately. We've handled what we need to handle, and we didn't hopefully forget anything, which is nice. So certainly you can always come in to your general screen, view your terminated employees. And again, this won't show terminated until that date that I chose, which is next Monday. But if I look at Ethan here, he's set to be terminated on the 27th. So, and again, we walked through that whole process. Any documents we updated, all that history, made sure we deactivated, make sure we paid everything out. Everything is very good in there. So I am happy to answer any questions that anyone may have. Certainly we've touched on a lot in the short period of time we've had together, but I have the chat open. I'm looking for raised hands. If anyone has specific questions, I'm happy to share and go into anything further. Susan, you are unmuted. Go ahead. What you got? I think you may have to unmute yourself, Susan. There we go.
I have a question about hiring and terminating people mid-payroll cycle.
Sure.
So I ran into this problem recently where we did like a payroll change mid-cycle, and it didn't take because it was mid-cycle.
So the biggest thing, the hire dates and the termination dates are literal, right? So if you add someone to payroll today, right, and you want to pay
Mhm.
them for Friday, so today's May 21st, your pay
Mhm.
date would be the 24th, for example, right? Now, if you put their hire date in as 5/21, your pay period was actually last week, which probably was the 12th to the 18th or something like that. Well, the system's saying, hey, you didn't hire them until the 21st, when in reality, you just didn't add them to the system until the 21st. And so that's probably why your employee didn't get run appropriately, because you had their hire date as as today's date when you were running payroll, not the actual date that they started. So it's always important to make sure that you're using their actual day that they started work. Similarly, with the terminations, when you terminate someone, if you're in this situation, they're working through the 27th. I could go run their final payroll, even if it's June 7th, right? I can go through because they were terminated on a work day. It will allow me to pay that. But if I go in there and terminate them today and expect to pay them in 2 weeks or something, you want to make sure that those dates are literal and they're correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Josh, I think you have to unmute yourself as well. What you got?
So, I just signed up with you guys for my payroll, and I need to add my documents, job description, employee handbook. And I saw how you did that sort of through there when we're hiring people. Can I do it, I guess, through can you just show me again how to
Sure.
do that, like
Yep.
from
So
my perspective, if I'm
what I'll
just
do, so we actually like to configure it all for you. So if you
right.
send those over to Kim, we'll get those set up for you and built
Okay,
and
perfect.
ready for you to go.
Okay, great.
So, and I just wrote a note. I'll let her know to be expecting that from you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Certainly the chat's open. And certainly we're always happy to answer any questions you may have. You're certainly welcome to reach out to anyone on our team. We'll be happy to chat with you about these or any other features. Don't forget, next month we'll go over expense management. The full webinar calendar is on the website, papertrails.com. Click on resources. You can see all of those webinars that we have going on through the rest of the year. Otherwise, we will see you next month. Thanks very much to everyone for joining.